My name's Eric Lee. I've been here at Next Jump since 2010. I'm the coach of Team Boston Fit Nut, so we run all the health and wellness initiatives in the office. I think some of you did the Optigate earlier with Christian. So Christian's the captain, and before he was captain, I was the captain, and he was my right hand on the team. So today, John and I will be going over culture of gas, and so that's lessons that we've learned here at Next Jump on how to build a culture where employees feel valued and, for lack of a better way of describing it, give a shit, or so we call it gas. We know you've heard a little bit about this earlier from Charlie, from the culture tour and so forth. We'd like to walk you through some of the lessons that we've personally learned. Next slide. So when building gas, we've decided to invest energy into three things. So for us, number one is food, two is community, and three is recognition. So food, so this slide I made a few changes. I also want to note we also have a few other strategic perks as well too. So all encompassing, we look at it as we want to make deliberate investments on the perks that help people feel cared for. I'm going to talk a little bit more about food and community and how it ties into my world. So investing in strategic perks. So from our side, we have a few key programs here at Next Jump. We have health and wellness programs. So you've seen that, the on-site gym, you've seen the fitness classes, you've experienced Yoga Nidra earlier this afternoon. We also have healthy food. So all of the food from breakfast to the snacks that you're eating right now, the bonitos, the chickpeas and so forth, those are all deliberate snacks that we have picked. Someone here at Next Jump is in charge of making sure all of that is healthy. Life events. So we recognize and invest in ways to just help make the events that happen in people's lives that much more special. Birthdays, anniversaries, marriages. Let's say someone has a new baby. We have a new mom care package as well too, where we invest $1,000 worth of WOW points for that family, just so they can help make sure get food delivered, get some diapers and so forth through the first few months when they first become a new parent. We also, one popular perk that I personally love is helping me save time, laundry. Every single week, we invest in a program where all Next Jumpers can drop off their laundry and then pick it up 2 days later, completely washed and folded for you. As we like to say it, see some smiles here. What's great about it is, we like to say, normally many Next Jumpers, we're spending our weekends doing our laundry. This is one way for us to get our weekends back.
Limit on drive up with the truck.
So we have one big bag. Dry cleaning is not included, but definitely I have seen some bags maybe a little bit overstuffed, I might say. A little bit liberal. It is free, all free. Now, so these are baseline programs that we offer for every single employee here at Next Jump. There are also some additional investments that we make from the coaching side. So let's say someone is a winner of top 10 for a certain month, or let's say they're an NB21, we'll invest in areas such as personal fitness sessions, so ways to help make sure, aside from being able to go to fitness classes and having access to the gym, ways to help make it easier for them to be healthy. We'll invest in leadership coaching sessions, so situational workshops from our CEO, from our executive team, our CEO quickfire, for the top 10 winners, where they get to ask questions to Charlie and to Megan, anything on their mind, and Charlie and Megan will do their best to answer. And so those are unique things where we really find value just to be able to help employees feel taken care of. And so there's one takeaway from here is, we want to be deliberate with where we invest, and what we really want to do is find what matters to our employees and focus on those things. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into one particular investment, and that's food. So I'm going to first talk about high level of some of the things that we invest in, and then I'm going to go into why food matters to me. So food, so you guys have all experienced it. We have breakfast every single day here in the office, healthy snacks everywhere throughout. For people who attend fitness classes during the day, we have fitness lunches as well too, and there's healthy dinner every single night. I know you guys will all be in a fitness class after this session, and then afterwards we'll be happy to have you join us for dinner as well too. So it's drinks, everything kitchen, all around the entire office. You'll see bowls of fruit. You'll see everything that just really helps make the healthy choice the easy choice. That's our mantra. We really want to make it easy. Now, I want to go into a little bit why food is important for me. So on the very left-hand side, that's a picture of me from 7 years ago, my senior year of college. I was relatively healthy. I'd say much more healthy than than I was a little bit earlier. So 7 years ago, 145 pounds, probably the peak health of my life. So 2 years later, I've been at NextJump for 2 years. I didn't really care about my health. I always thought, health can wait, career first. I'll wait until my 30s, my 40s, and so forth, and then I'll worry about my health. So I gained 40 pounds in 2 years. In that picture, I was 185 pounds, so much larger then. So for me, that was just a shock. My cholesterol went through the roof, hard to sleep at night, perpetually grumpy, probably not pleasant to work with, looking at some of my coworkers over here. But altogether, aside from just impacting me physically, like mentally, emotionally, it also brought me into a bad place as well, too. So that last picture, that's where I am today. That's from an outdoor boot camp that we run here in Boston, and this is what I look like now also here, physically, in person, in the flesh. So I'm much healthier than what I used to be. My cholesterol is it's on its way down, but still something where I don't feel like I want to be in a place where I have to be worrying about my health deliberately. I'd like to be able to make it, if I'm facing these challenges, it's easy for a lot of other people in the office, a lot of other people in the company to have similar challenges as well too. And so it was around 2 years ago when I started a team here in Boston called Team Boston FitNut, where we took in control all of the different wellness initiatives from fitness classes, from food, where for me, I wanted to make sure I could turn this into an environment where I could myself be healthy, where I can make it easy for me to, just by being here at NextJump every single day, improve my health. And now we're expanding it where, so it's not just me actively doing it for me now. It's Christian, who's sitting there in the back as the new captain, and we're helping expand and make that the easy choice for everyone across the entire company. Now, what's cool, so maybe something that is, not directly, it's not really about the food, for lack of a better way to describe it. Food, realistically, it's a practice grind. It's a low risk way to grow leaders. So here on the left-hand side, I have a snapshot of our feedback app. So you can see, this is feedback that someone left for another colleague who's on Christian's food team, saying, keeping your coworkers happy, including yourself, you can create a healthier and more productive work environment. So what's great about food is, on the culture side, being able to practice, it gives a lot of people, something to truly be accountable for. Something that you might not think is the biggest deal in the world, making sure you have the right macronutrients for a snack that you're eating, making sure that the decisions that you're making will impact not just yourself, but everyone else in the office, and then holding that high bar for yourself, that's something that's very powerful. And for the people who are owning food here right now in the Boston office, what's great too is, it shows their peers, it shows the other leaders, Greg, John, etc. These are the people, like if you can't really count on someone to even be making sure that a bag of chips is healthy, then do you really want to count on them on the business side as well too? So this really gives an opportunity for junior leaders to shine, for them to really hold themselves accountable and show that they can go above and beyond. Now I wanted to go a little into about how we invest in community. So there are a few key programs that I want to talk about. One is Adopt a Public School, which we're running in New York and London. We have CO Happy Hour. This happens every single month when everyone, regardless of who you are, newest hired CEO, we all work together as an office, as a company, taking care of our office space. Every single year, we have the American Heart Association 5K in New York, the JP Morgan Corporate Challenge here in Boston, London, and so forth. We have the annual dance battle. I know you've seen some photos here in Boston of some of our dance pictures and so forth. We have a whole slew of other events, but one thing that I really wanted to have you guys take away is it doesn't really matter if you're the new hire or the CEO. The main thing is we're doing it all together as a company. Now, I wanted to go a little bit more into the annual dance battle. So this is a picture of the Boston's ending pose of our dance just earlier this year, this past February. So the title, Annual Dance Battle, Bonding Through Suffering. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the origins and where this comes from. So when someone first joins the military, everyone goes through boot camp. All of the recruits, they have to do it. It's challenging physically, it's challenging mentally. Realistically, though, they all have to suffer to some capacity. But what happens is for everyone who goes through boot camp, it brings them together. It creates a sense of community where they're able to get through it together. Now, we're a tech company here at NextJump. If you think about it, It's a bunch of us, kind of nerdy engineers and so forth. What's probably the worst thing you could ask us to do? So for us, that's dance, where no one in that picture is a professional dancer. None of us can really dance that well. But for 2 months, every single year, January through February, the entire company, every single office comes together and they create 2 dances to compete at our holiday party. There are ups and downs, learning curves, frustrations. It's definitely, not the most comfortable costumes and so forth, where a lot of suffering, a lot of things where, personally you don't feel comfortable doing it. But what's great is we're doing it together. And after the end of the two months, whether you win or lose, it's something where, thinking back, reflecting back, for the course of the next 10 months until the next year, it's something that we always remember fondly. Whenever you hear the song come up on the radio, whenever we have our CEO happy hour and we play the music, everyone really gets into the groove and it brings and creates that stronger sense of community. And I'll note for me personally, so being in Boston, and this year we were fortunate to be able to win the dance competition. The last time we won was in 2011. I'll note, every single year, while it's great to be dancing together and going through that process, being able to also share that victory as well too after so many years makes it that much more meaningful too. So I wanted to end from my section with 2 quick lessons from the Navy. So the first one is, so it's a bit of a recap, but food is the fastest way to impact morale. You can feel almost instantly if the food is good, morale is high. If the food is bad, morale goes down. Also, food is a huge responsibility. It's much bigger than what many people think. So many little things go into it, watching expiration dates, making sure it's truly healthy, making sure that employees find it tasty and they'll actually be willing to eat it. Number 2 is the number one thing that people remember from deployment. It's not the hard work or the suffering, but the camaraderie and bonding that people have together, what they share together, and that everyone invested in everyone else's success and growth. So it's, putting aside, the notion of self and really thinking about, and thinking for, the notion of team, the notion of community, and the notion of all of us here together. And so with that, I wanted to pass it off to John to cover the second section on recognition.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is John Hilliard. I'm a software engineer for NextJump. I've been building stuff and products and systems for NextJump since about 2008. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our culture of recognition and how we use recognition programs, things like that, to build a culture of gas where people care and have ownership, and how our recognition programs reinforce that culture. So first, I kind of wanted to start where we came from. You'll see the little placard here and these 2 steel balls. This was our top honor within NextJump probably about 5 or 10 years ago. I'll just read the placard. So, the ultimate recognition from the CEO for reaching company milestone benchmarks. Winners are awarded $10,000 in their next paycheck. This award doubles in value every time you receive the award in the same year. And so the way it worked is basically in a Monday meeting, it would be a surprise, and someone would be announced as the winner of the President's Award. You wouldn't really know necessarily that it was coming. It was picked specifically by the leadership team, and it was kind of it just sort of happened. And I remember when I started and seeing these things, I was just like, oh my God, I have no idea how I would ever win that. That's like such a... it happens kind of, you're picked, and it seems like you have to be really good at your job. You have to be really good at sales, and what if I don't do sales? So, in my head when I started, it was something that I didn't really know how to achieve that. I remember the first time I think I saw it awarded, it went to a guy named John Nellen. And when he won it, it was actually kind of a special circumstance. He won it because he managed to get his entire fitness team to go to the gym twice in 1 week, which had never been done before. And so in that case, it was even more of a progressive version of the award. It wasn't necessarily for his core job. It was for setting a new standard for what you could do as a fitness team captain. But even in that situation, it didn't go exactly as the way we thought. He got the award, it was in a cool way, but there were still some grumblings like, oh, the only reason his team got to 100% participation is because he was like a slave driver and made everyone go, and it wasn't fun for the team. And this type of award structure had a lot of unintended consequences. So I want to kind of transition to a few years later and where we are and like what our top honor is today. So our top honor is called the Avengers Award, and at the top here, I have this quote from Charlie. At NextJump, we aspire to build a company that makes our mothers and fathers proud. The Avengers Award is the award that celebrates our mothers. And so the award works totally differently. Throughout the course of maybe 2 months, we're actually just starting it now for our summer this year. The whole company gets involved in selecting the Avenger. It's totally transparent, like what's happening. You're voting, you're seeing, you're engaged in that process. And I'll go into more details from that. Rather than being awarded during a company staff meeting, it happens in a CEO talk. So we have all of our offices in the same venue, and at the same time, we have external guests there too that are there when the award is given out. When you give the award, like your family shows up, and the gift isn't just $10,000, it's a vacation with your family. And so the gift itself is much more thoughtful and meaningful. And so in 2015, I was selected as the Avenger. So I'll just sort of try to set the stage a little bit for what it was like. I think there are several people who are nominated for the Avengers Award, and as we go through, we're reading out speeches about those people and the things that they've done, how they've helped people, how they've helped other people succeed throughout the year. And then when the final Avenger is named, they're brought up on stage, a speech is read out about them, and their family comes out from backstage. So that's me with my mom. My mom came and was on stage with me. So were my grandparents. They're both like, that's like my closest family. They're all on stage with me. And during that process, I think about the difference between where we came from and where we are. I was on stage with my mom, and like the whole crowd sort of are the people that know me best. And I think I could feel it at the time that it's like not just about achievement. Like the Avengers Award recognizes growth. And on stage with my mom, she felt that like Next Jump had made me a better person. And that's really what this award is about, as opposed to just achievement on sales and recognition. So high level, why I share those stories, there's a few kind of takeaways from the recognition process. Management picks, the CEO, the President's Award was an award where there was no transparency into how it was picked. It just sort of happened. The CEO and the leadership team would pick it. Whereas the Avengers Award is crowdsourced. Like when the Avengers is named, generally the whole audience just stands up randomly and is like applauding because they've been involved in this process, they've seen the build up and are really excited and proud of the Avenger. The other kind of comparison is quarterbacks versus linemen. I'll get into that a little bit more detail, but basically celebrating the top performers versus celebrating the people who help those top performers. And intensity only. So in the President's Award, it was kind of like an intense thing that happened, and then there was no other follow-up. It's like it came out of the blue when someone won it, and then it was quickly forgotten that it had happened. Whereas the Avengers, it's like it's a month-long process. We're talking about it, and then afterwards, the stories are shared in venues like this. It's on our walls. It has consistent reinforcement of the values that we want to build as a company. So quarterbacks versus linemen. This is one of the fundamental principles for how we think about recognition. Generally, the quarterbacks in your companies and in your teams are already compensated at a higher level. They're high achievers. They are also entrusted with more responsibility and power. And so the recognition programs in our Next Jump are built to celebrate not necessarily just the quarterbacks, but also the people who help them succeed. And the other part that just I wanted to touch on, the culture of gas is really reinforced when it's hard if everybody's trying to be a quarterback. You need like people in different roles, different capacities. You need people helping each other and building that type of environment. And if everybody's trying to be a quarterback all the time, that's something that can stand in the way. And so we've built our recognition programs to reflect people who are helping others versus people who are just succeeding on their own. The other area I wanted to talk about was consistency versus intensity, and how do we do culture change. So this slide in particular is written from the perspective of like fitness and nutrition, but it actually plays a lot into how we structure many of our programs, including recognition. So changing behavior and changing culture in a workplace it's very hard to do if it's done with a basis of intensity. Meaning, so like the nutrition example would be like, if you're not going to get healthy by doing a 3-day liquid diet and a 2-hour run just once. The way to get healthy is through consistency and doing behavior change, which are smaller achievements, but something that you can do on a more regular basis to really change behavior. So eating breakfast daily, that's something that Eric talked about that we do here. We provide breakfast because it's an easy way to be healthy. And exercising twice a week. That's how our fitness program is structured as well. Now, if you look at the way that we do recognition in that same manner, it's built the same way. So we have 3 different levels of recognition programs that we run within Next Jump. On a weekly basis, we run a program called Anitas. So every week, you can give a Anita to somebody and as a way of saying thank you for helping me. On a monthly basis, we run the top 10 program, which I'll get more into. And then on a yearly basis, we run that Avengers program that I talked about. And so you go from, you have consistent things and you have intense things that happen as well. And together, that's helped us create a culture, I believe, of like where people care. And all of them are reinforcing that idea of either helping others or servant leadership. So at every level, it's reinforcing the values that we want to build as a company into our culture. So I'm just going to quickly go through those programs a little bit, and then I'll sort of conclude. So core Anitas. Each week, at the end of the week on Friday, we'll have an event called Core Anitas. They're going to that, right? So yeah, you guys will get to see it. Basically, during that time that we do buzz, but then also we have an opportunity where, does anybody have a core Anita they want to give? And I might give a core Anita, say, to Eric. So Eric, thank you so much for helping me build this presentation. I didn't have a lot of time this week, so thanks for really running point on that. And it's like a simple, informal way. I give him a small beer, which is, it's a Corona, it's core Anita. And then at the end, we all drink them. But so like everybody goes around and does this. It's not like it needs to be manager approved. It's just a small way of saying thank you. And there's not a lot of structure to it, but generally it has the feel of help, who helped you. And that happens in every office. Each office does it slightly differently, but the theme is pretty much the same. And it can happen across office. For example, someone will email me like, hey, can you give Henry a Smurf for, something like that, or a core Anita. So top 10, I'll spend a little bit more time on this. Normally I would demo it, but I know we're a little long today. Charlie talked about this as well. So top 10 is a mobile app that we run on a monthly basis for our recognition. And at a high level, the way it works, every employee within NextJump is given 1,000 wow points. That's about $10. And throughout the course of the month, they can give out those 1,000 wow points in any way or increment that they want as a way of saying thank you. So in addition to, I could do a core Anita, but I could also give Eric 200 wow points as a way of saying, hey, thanks for your help with the presentation. It really meant a lot to me. All of that activity is transparent into the entire company. So everyone in the company has this app on their phone. They can see that I just gave Eric 200 wow points. If they like it, they can also boost that with their own wow points. So Eric will have more wow points that he's given. And then at the end of the month, there's a leaderboard that would look like this, where the people who've received the most wow points, the most votes, the most recognition are at the top, and it's ranked. And then the top 10 are recognized in front of the full company on a monthly basis. And that's why it's called top 10. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, those wow points can be spent in our e-commerce platform. So that's how it's all kind of connected. The program itself, the way we run it, like on a monthly basis, we look at the leaderboard and read out the names of the top 10 people and their stories in front of the whole company. And so everyone will kind of stand up and clap and congratulate them. As a winner of top 10, you get CEO access. So you'll get to go to a CEO quickfire, ask any questions that are on your mind. Could be, a lot of times people ask growth related questions, like I'm struggling with X, how would you, it's like a coaching session with the CEO, which is really cool. The other thing that you get as a winner of top 10 is dedicated personal training time, which is really nice. And the other area, which is also less talked about but is available to the top 10 winners, is Spotlight. So as a top 10 winner, that means I'm someone who's been recognized, but I can also take that opportunity to then spotlight the work of someone else that I think didn't get recognized, but like meant a lot or helped a lot. And so what this is the one I wrote, where it's like I got recognition. I was in top 10, but I also felt like, Shuilan is someone who would help me a lot. And like it would really mean a lot, and I wanted to share that. And so the CEO gets to see that, the co-CEOs see that, and then it's just like a really cool way to get to elevate somebody and say thank you. So I'm going to end with just sort of a bit on like how we run Avengers, because I think how we run it is important for understanding like how it's different from other recognition programs generally that companies run. So the process, it generally takes about 2 months. So that's why we're just getting started now for the summer Avengers ceremony. During the process, we'll receive anywhere between like 150 to 250 nominations. So what will happen is in a Monday meeting, we'll say, okay, Avengers nominations have started. So please submit your stories for like who has helped you succeed. Who do you think is the steward leader within NextJump for the year? Like who's someone that's like really meant a lot to you and like as a steward leader. And so we collect tons and tons of nominations. And then I think the first step that we do is we announce the top 20 people who've like received the most nominations or most compelling stories. then from there, we actually go out and start interviewing all of those people. So for the top 20, we'll conduct interviews for every single one. So it's like, okay, in your story you said this, like what did you mean? And like diving into really exact details. And then we end by saying, is there anyone else that you think we should talk to about this person as a way to like further their nomination? And so we go through that in several rounds. We announce the top 20, then the top 10, and then we have the Avengers ceremony itself. It's a long process, and at each stage, we're announcing who the top 20 are, we're sharing those stories, we're emailing out, and so everybody in the company is kind of engaged in this process to find the Avenger. And we constantly will talk about that, like, we need to find the 2017 Avenger, help us, submit the stories, do the interviews, et cetera. And so I think engaging the company in that process has been really important for, to achieve the standing ovation at the end. I think everybody needs to feel bought into the process. And then there's the award and the ceremony itself. So on the ceremony side, like I said, we bring in the families for the top 3 Avengers. So we went from top 20 to 10. Then at the ceremony itself, we announced the top 3 and the winner. So it's a little complicated, but basically we bring in 3 families, and they're all taking part in this event where their company is recognizing them. For me, I think it was cool to have my family interact with my company. That's not something that happens that often, and it's kind of, the ceremony itself is usually seen as a way to recognize the person, but it's a huge, the family loves going to the ceremony, because what'll happen is the family's there with their child, and everyone is going up to the family being like, oh, your child's so great, they've helped me this way. And so usually the families are just gushing the whole time because everybody is talking about how great their kids are. And then there's the vacation. So every Avenger is awarded with a vacation with their loved ones and family. So I have some photos from the vacation that I went on. Two couple things, my family, my mom was in the military, but then also after she got out of the military, she went to work for the Red Cross. So she never really made a ton of money. She did that mostly because it would allow her flexibility to raise me the way that she wanted as a single mother. And so I think that we never really took vacations, basically, is what I'm saying. So I think because of that, this vacation really meant a lot to my family and my mom. And what we did was we did a cruise through the Caribbean, and one of the reasons that we chose a cruise was because my grandfather was a police officer, and when he was as a police officer, he was injured during a barroom brawl or something, and he had back injury, so he hasn't ever really been able to walk that well. And as a result of that, he's also gained a lot of weight in the intervening years. And he hadn't really, when I won, he wasn't able to walk at all because he had a combination of back pain and weight. And then we planned this vacation, and that got him to a state of mind where he wanted to be able to walk by the time we took this vacation. So that's him, with a stroller thing. But anyway, he was able to walk, and it meant a lot. He lost a lot of weight, and it gave him something really exciting to focus on. So we had a huge room. It was like a 5,000 square foot room on a cruise boat, which is really odd. There's a hot tub in there. So I think it was just an extremely meaningful gift to me and my family, much more than $10,000 and a pair of steel balls. So we've come a long way as it relates to recognition, and we believe that this approach does create a culture of giving a shit. So I can leave you with some of the key takeaways here. Creating a system of desired behaviors. All of our recognition programs are about either servant leadership or helping others, and not recognizing just the people who achieve the most. Linebackers versus quarterbacks, it's important to have people at different capacities that feel recognized. Crowdsourcing, engaging the whole company in that process for naming the Avenger or giving the Coronita. It's not all top down. And lastly, the power of stories. I think just even my story for Avengers, it's just night and day different between what we were able to do with our recognition and how it created stories and examples that we wanted people to follow versus the President's Award. And so that's all been very deliberate in the way that we structure our programs. So that's all that we have from the recognition and creating a culture of gas side. Open it up to questions.